Lord Fierce, or should I say Richard, welcome.
Happy to be here. You can call me Richard.
Excited to have you. You're this like little bundle of sunlight that I
Oh,
met at PlantCon in New York City. How crazy was that?
that was such a fun time. It was my first PlantCon. I believe it was PlantCon's first time in New York City. So it was a lot of firsts. It was so cool not only to meet so many people, but also meet people that I've admired in the industry for so
Yeah.
long,
Yeah.
such as you, Daryl Chang. I got to see Summer Rain Oaks again. So
I
it was
know.
really, really cool seeing the community come together in New York.
Yeah, I feel like they did a good job at getting some of those like OG influencers like Summer Rain. And Summer Rain like made New York City plant people a thing, you know? So that was so cool. It was so fun to connect with so many people
Yeah.
and to meet you. So first I have to ask you, your name is Richard, but your account is Lord Fierce, and then your business is Plant Daddy NYC. So walk me through all
The
these names of
identities.
yours. Yeah.
All right. So my given name is Richard.
Hmm.
That's what my parents named me growing up. But how I got the handle Lord Fierce was this is back in LA. So I'm from California originally.
Hmm.
I was born in the San Francisco Bay Area. And when I graduated college, I lived in LA for 5 years.
Cool.
Now, at this time, I was working at a luxury gym. And one of my coworkers, as I was sauntering down the runway of the gym, he just yells, "Fierce!" And I turn around at him and go, "Me?" And he goes, "Yeah, you're Lord Fierce."
Oh my
And I
gosh.
think around that time, it was around 2009. And so Instagram just started. And my friends were like, "Oh, we should get on this. This looks like a lot of fun." They're like, "Oh, you have to create a handle." And I went, "Oh my God, my handle is Lord Fierce."
Got it.
So that's how the handle was created, as kind of just like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge to my LA friends.
I love that. So you were working at a you said a luxury gym. Where
Mhm.
did plants come into play for you?
So plants have always been kind of scattered throughout my life, but I haven't paid attention to it. So my first instance with plants, if we were going to really, really give it to first introductions, was when I was a kid.
Hmm.
My earliest memory was playing in my backyard with my mom. So my mom had a garden in her backyard where she grew fruits and vegetables, herbs, a lot of things that she knew growing up in Vietnam. My
Hmm.
parents immigrated here from Vietnam during the 80s because of the Vietnam War. And so they had a hard time kind of acclimating to American culture. So the first thing that my mom decided to do to familiarize herself with the new surroundings and bring home with her is to grow herbs and vegetables that she knew.
That's beautiful.
And so there was one side of the garden where she literally made the garden look like rice patties, like how it's all layered and beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was very, very orderly. There was a system. I think she even put an irrigation system in there too. And then on the left side of the garden was pure chaos.
Okay.
It was, I remember a rusty swing set that I loved going on, a bunch of different weeds and grasses, and I had a little mason jar and I would collect little plants and
Mm.
bugs in it. And little did I know that I was creating my first terrarium.
Wow.
But just to a kid, I was having so much fun just discovering these little things.
Yeah.
So that was the first formal introduction to plants into my life, which is my earliest memory.
Mm-hmm.
But how plants came into my life that I was aware of, that I became more aware of it, was when I was living in New York City. So
Post
I,
LA era.
not the LA, oh, LA era, I was a bit too busy partying around.
Okay. So after LA, you moved to New York.
Yes,
Okay.
after LA, I moved to New York and I started working at an advertising firm.
Mm-hmm.
We did Broadway advertising, front of house, playbills, big billboards, TV spots, all that stuff. And I was surrounded by so many computer screens every day that it made me really, really sad. And then just being in New York City, you're surrounded by so many buildings, so much machinery, just a very, very lack of green. And I was just so down on myself. I'm like, oh, I just want to wake up and look at something beautiful.
Mm.
So that day I was just like, you know what? I'm going to buy a plant. I am going to buy a simple plant. So I went to the Sill while I was still in the Lower East Side,
So good.
which is my jam. and I bought a simple 4-inch green pothos.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing fancy, a
That's a
terracotta pot.
great first plant. Yeah.
Yep. At the time where I was living, I had a computer face me every time I woke up in the morning on my little desk. So what I decided to do was I took that computer and I stashed it in the closet, wiped everything off that desk, and I put the jade pothos on there because I wanted that pothos to be the first thing I saw in the morning and the last thing I saw at night.
I love that.
And it brought me so much joy just to look at this beautiful plant grow, that the collection grew from one pothos to a snake plant to a spider plant to eventually this jungle that you see behind
Wow.
me.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, I still have the pothos. It's actually right there.
That's incredible. Yeah, the Sill was so instrumental for me too, like getting started because they had the education, they had the people who actually like the staff at the store that would actually help you. Like they were such an
Mhm.
amazing resource in New York City. It doesn't sound, were there dreams of becoming a plant person professionally?
Not at all.
Yeah.
So I started with plants as just a hobby. I
Mm-hmm.
loved plants. I loved taking care of them. I loved collecting them. I'm a huge nerd,
Mm-hmm.
if you can't tell. So when I was a kid, I loved playing with action figures. I would collect these action figures, specifically like the X-Men I really loved. So I would buy all these action figures and I would display them around my windowsill and like little boxes. And
Oh
I would
my
just like give
God.
them a nice little turn, a little turn here, and I would just admire them.
Yeah. Plants are
But
the new action figures. I
plants are
love
my new
that.
action figure. Yeah. So like literally I will just like, oh, step away. There we go. I just find so much satisfaction in that gentle little act.
Wow. What does your collection look like right now? I mean, I see you in this beautifully appointed New York City apartment. You definitely have an urban jungle. What 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 did your collection start as and what has it grown into?
So my initial collection were, I think, just a few staples. So when I first got into plants, I wanted to get things that are, that I've seen
Hmm.
often.
Yeah.
So snake plants, spider plants, I think
Monstera.
Monstera, the classics. And I think there was a moment where I was like, wow, I have about like 40 houseplants. This is a lot.
Hmm.
But then I discovered the world of begonias.
Interesting.
I saw my first begonia. It was a begonia escargot.
Okay.
And I saw the swirl. I saw the fuzziness. I saw
Mm.
this iridescence to it. And I went, this plant is me.
Yeah.
There is
It's
something,
Lord Fierce. This
it's
plant
Lord
is
Fierce
Lord
in
Fierce.
plant form.
Wow.
And so I was like, oh my God, this plant is so magical. It's so whimsical. It's so otherworldly. And that begonia is what created this large jungle that I have now. I was so fascinated with odd and unique plants from then onward because I was like, there are so many fascinating plants that we don't know about,
Yeah.
that are in cultivation that not a lot of houseplant growers know about. So I think during my first few years getting into houseplants, my drive was to find different houseplants that aren't very common and to understand them.
So
So
was that exclusively in the begonia category and you were doing all the rare begonias, or was it across the board? You were looking at lithops, you were looking at variegated whale fins and, across the board.
once I started getting into the begonia realm, specifically I loved Rex begonias because they were so obnoxious.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Because I felt like those begonias represented me.
Hmm.
So I had to be a little frou-frou. But then I fell down a tunnel of, there's specific plants that people have challenges with. There are difficult plants. And
Hmm.
so of course, Calatheas came next.
Yeah.
So
Oh boy.
I wanted to find those difficult plants and understand what made it so difficult. I'm like, why do these plants have a reputation for being so difficult? I just remembered the original question was, when did I ever think of turning this into a career?
Hmm.
So right now I was very, very hobby-like. I wanted to collect plants. I wanted to understand them. At work, in between in between actual work, what I would do is that I would research plants. I would see like, oh, what family are they from? What are the commonalities? Where are they native to? And one of my coworkers saw this and she was like, you're really into this plant thing, aren't you? And this is about maybe like 2017.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't, we didn't hit the plant craze just yet.
Yeah.
We're still kind of like in this very, very like beginning grounds. And she's like, maybe you should go to school for it. I went, you know what, that's a great idea. So I looked into how much a master's degree, a PhD in botany or horticulture would be.
Mm.
I'm not paying that much again.
Yeah, for sure.
I already went to school. I
Yeah.
still have to pay off my student debt. So I was like, okay, well, what's the next best thing, Richard? So that year, what I decided to do was I Google searched best botany school in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that year, what appeared was UC Berkeley.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I did some, crafty sleuthing. Hopefully I won't get busted for this, but I'm telling the truth. Went to their website. I delved into their program and I found a class syllabus with recommended readings. So what I decided to do was go to the Brooklyn Library, check out all those books.
Wow.
And within a few months, I literally gave myself an education in botany and horticulture.
Wow. That's wild. I thought you were going to say, so I went to New York Botanical Garden certification program.
Oh,
or
yeah,
I
yeah,
went to, or I went to like Brooklyn Botanic or I took an online course. No, you tutored yourself.
I tutored myself. Yeah. And so that kind of gave me my initial foundation of horticulture. So like if I were to, talk the talk, the taxonomy, the terminology, sure, I can keep up. But I would not say that is the only thing that is needed to be a plant expert or a horticulturist. Sure, you can talk the talk, but can you walk the walk? Can you get your hands dirty? So a lot of my initial years when I was in hobby mode was getting as many plants as I could.
Mm-hmm.
And experimenting on them. I wanted to grow them well, but I also wanted to play with the boundaries of it. What does low light mean? Well, what if I put it in this corner? How far can I push this snake plant? I started doing my own little experiments.
Right.
From
and then
this.
You made your own little lab.
Yeah, which I actually have. It's in my bedroom right now.
Wow.
The lab is still going. But of course, it's more than just, torturing snake plants.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like more unusual things. But a lot of the information that I gained doing those little experiments, I pass on to people. So I'm like, hey, like my plants exhibited this too. When I took it out of light, if you did this, if you did that, it would help your plant get back on track. So I started kind of spreading my knowledge just to help people out.
Yeah.
Used to go to plants when I went to plant stores, I would always overhear conversations. I'm like, oh, you know what? Like this actually needs its own soil mix. You should try this. They're like, wow, you're so helpful.
And also, once your hobby becomes that intense in your own group of friends, you become the plant person that gets the texts.
Yep.
Hey, what's up with my plant? How do I fix it? Like I'm always my texts from my like family and friends are always like that. Hey, what's wrong with my plant?
Yeah, they'll send you like a little picture of it. And this is what gained my reputation or name as Plant Daddy.
Cool.
Yep.
So Plant Daddy is where, so you started just doing consults basically for like family, friends, people who needed help.
Yeah.
And the more you kind of cut your teeth and learned and also experimented with your own plant collection, the more you felt confident actually like charging. So when did you start charging for the service?
So I started charging for the service a few years back. So what eventually developed was I left my old corporate job to manage a plant store in Bushwick.
Cool. Which one?
A Little Shop of Soil.
Cute. Okay.
Yep. So I was their manager for 5 years. And during this time, not only was I taking care of the plants in the store, but I was also taking care of the plants from the people who visited the store.
Mm-hmm.
So the word caught on and we're like, oh my God, like Richard Lord Fierce, he knows like he could literally doctor any plant. Like you just have to show him the picture or bring your plant and he'll figure it out for you. So people started visiting the shop, not just to buy plants, but to find me and ask questions.
Amazing. And you basically have all these warm leads coming in the store.
Yep.
also, once again, like I feel like if you don't get an official degree in horticulture, you need the reps, right? Like you, if
Yep,
you don't want to be a fraud, like you need the reps, the 10,000 hours, right? Behind
exactly.
your experience. And so the fact that you actually went and worked in retail and saw the day in, the day out, these are all the things that people are always coming in with. This is how I treat this.
Yep,
Learning, learning, learning. That's so smart and strategic.
exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
And then also just taking care of situations in the store. There's an infestation of mealybugs that just got on these aglaonemas. What do you do?
Right. Because you can't afford to lose that
We can't lose
crop.
that stock. So I
Right.
also created an ICU in the store.
I love that.
So there would be a little lab in the back, and that's where we would doctor plants so we don't lose that stock.
Wow, that's so cool. I'm so impressed with that. Leslie Halleck, do you know her?
No.
No, she's a horticulturist and dear friend of mine. And she has like every degree on the shelf and she's run like really large garden centers. And
Uh-huh.
she says, like, if you're interested in getting into plants, like the best thing you can do for yourself is to get into a garden center because you're going to learn. You're going to get thrown into the deep end and you're going to
Yep.
learn so much. Like, instead of just starting your consulting business with only your own personal experience, like, do it that way. And you really did, you did it that way. So you were able to source experience from just beyond your setup, you know,
Yep.
because I feel like sometimes with people who try to do plant consulting and only have their experience of their southern facing window apartment in zone
Hmm.
6A or in NYC, you know, it's harder to consult for the person in the Arctic, you know, or the person where I am in South Florida, which is very different
Yes.
as well. So the more you can understand, the better. That's so cool, Richard.
Thank you. So there came instances when people visited me and they're like, I just have too many plants that I can't bring them to you. Can you come to my place
Yeah.
and
Cool.
doctor these plants? So that's when I started charging for those house calls. But it
Cool.
wasn't my full-time job just yet.
Yeah. And you did it the right way too, where you were able to, it sounds like, stay at this steady job at the plant shop until your side job of doing these plant consults could replace your full time
Exactly.
income.
Exactly. Yeah, I didn't I but what was interesting when I was working at the plant shop was that I was in a different place in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I think during that time I felt like I didn't want to take any chances.
Mm.
I felt
Yeah.
like I needed to play very, very safe. And I think the world that, I was brought up in is that you want safety. You want
100%.
something stable. You don't want to risk anything.
Also,
And
New
so
York City is a really expensive place to live.
it's expensive. It's
Yeah.
scary. It's only getting more expensive.
Yeah, for
Um, and
sure.
s- and so like the side hustle, plant doctoring, was just like my weekend gig,
Yep.
but my time and dedication was to the plant shop.
Mm.
And so I did this for 5 years, but then an incident happened. I know.
Do we get the tea? Is
We get the tea. I'm gonna give the tea.
okay.
I haven't talked about this,
Okay.
but I'm
Growing
gonna
joy
come out and say I'm gonna
exclusive.
come
Here we
clean
go.
here.
Okay.
So I know a lot of people probably have been wondering because they always see me as the face of this plant shop, and
Right.
they're just like, "Where did Richard go?" and stuff.
Mm.
So now I feel more comfortable talking about it.
Yeah.
So I've been with this plant shop since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a change in management. They weren't doing so hot.
Yeah.
And I get it. You know what I mean? Like we had this huge houseplant craze.
Yep.
Things kind of went down. It's kind of going back up. It's kind of unsure. So the owners, and bless them, it's their first business. They are young. They're trying to figure out what to do to keep afloat. And the choice that they made was to lay me off basically.
Oh man.
Which it really, really hurt in that moment. You know what I
Well, it
mean?
sounds like a lot of your identity and your passion and dedication was there, which a lot of
Yeah,
people will relate to. A lot of us find most of our identity in our jobs.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so, like, what I thought was a dream job was gone.
Yeah.
And what I worked for so long for, that I left my corporate job to do something that I'm passionate about, just kind of literally just fell apart right there.
Mm.
At this time, they let me go in December, right before the holidays. And I'm like,
Ouch.
oh,
Ouchies.
why?
Yeah.
It was
Okay.
like the most painful thing too.
Yeah.
And it was also before my trip to Vietnam.
Oh,
I was
okay.
planning this grand family vacation to Vietnam. We've been planning it for 2 years.
Hmm.
I was down, girl. I was so sad.
Yeah.
And that a few days before I left for my trip, I was doctoring my friend's fiddle leaf fig at my house.
Hmm.
Like I made like a little lab station and stuff.
Oh
Like
my
I laid
gosh.
a tarp so it was like a surgery table. And he was like, "Oh my god, you're like a surgeon." So this
Wow.
started planting the seeds. I went, "Oh yeah, I guess this is kind of like a plant doctor thing." And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, a plant doctor thing."
Mm,
And I went, "That is kind of funny." And so he's one of my good friends. I also do jujitsu, so he's one of my jujitsu mates.
okay.
And I was just telling him like what recently happened. And he was like, "Richard, this could be the biggest blessing for you."
Yeah.
And I went, "It really doesn't feel like that." And he
Yeah.
goes, "No, no." He's like, "I have a feeling that this is going to be a really good blessing for you. You are going to be traveling to Vietnam in a couple days. In Vietnam, he's like, you're going to be inspired going to Vietnam."
Hmm.
And another interesting symbolic thing is that Vietnam's time is in the future.
Yeah.
So you're literally going
To the
to the
future. I love
future
that.
to come back and figure it out. He's like, "This is going to be the biggest blessing for you." And so when I went to my Vietnam trip, which I was not mentally ready for it because
Hmm.
I had so many events that just happened to me. And
Of
here I
course.
am
Yeah.
leaving the United States, not knowing what I'm going to come back to.
Hmm.
It was so inspirational. Not only are the plants in Vietnam absolutely beautiful, and you see so many common house plants that we treasure just grow on the side of the streets.
Mimosa pudica.
Yeah, just right there on like weeds.
Yep.
Like
It's
weeds.
insane.
But I think the biggest inspiration that I got was the entrepreneurship.
Mm.
Literally everyone in Vietnam runs a small little business, a little
Mm.
side business. Seeing an old like grandma push a cart making noodles, just one kind of noodle, and she sells out at 2 p.m. every single day. And I went, if this woman can do it, I can do it too. And then seeing how crafty people are with their plants too. I think the most impressive thing that I saw was someone living on like the seventh floor of their apartment building, hollowed out one of those big water jugs and made it into a hanging planter.
So cool.
And I went, there's so much resiliency here. There's so much survival. There's so much creativity. There's so much drive. Being Vietnamese American and going back to my homeland, I'm like, I represent something bigger than just myself. I represent the Vietnamese community. I'm a survivor.
Hell yeah.
I'm a resilient person. And so from that trip, I came back with this newfound inspiration of like, "Richard, you can do this. Don't go back to what you thought was your reality," which is people expected me to, go to another plant store. "You have such a great resume, Richard. Why don't you do another job and just have this as
Right.
a hobby?" And I went, "You know what? I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to start my own business. And it's going to be a different business. It's going to be something that's unique to me that has literally every job that I have done in my past has led up to this point."
Yeah.
And so in 2025, I opened up Plant Daddy MD.
That is so cool and so inspiring. And I have to say, I have such a parallel story to you. I used to be a Broadway performer and I lost my job in the pandemic. I know that's like a weird overlap we have.
What?
Yeah, and I did my podcast as a side. It wasn't even a side hustle because I didn't pay myself from it. I just like it paid for my plants. I did it for like 5 years and because I was in Cats on Broadway, right? Like I had my income coming elsewhere.
You were a Jellicle cat.
I was a Jellicle cat, and I was a Jellicle cat on the tour after too.
Ah!
But I lost my job in the pandemic because theater shut down. And then 2 months later, I got a book deal out of nowhere for my podcast, like for my
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
plants.
I remember seeing that book. Yeah, yeah.
And then plants got really popular in the pandemic. So I was able to kind of shift full time. But I do feel like sometimes when you have those earth shattering, pivotal ego death moments of, oh my God, I worked my whole life for this. Why is this being taken away from you? Why me? Why this? You have to stay open to the doors that are opening in front of your face that like you might not be able to see. And it's like, gosh, if the universe was going to give you a sign, going to Vietnam, where like, number one, I mean, I say this because I'm Italian, and when I go to Italy, I feel a very similar experience where
Mm.
I say, like, the feeling is something activates in my genes, like in my genetics, like something activates in my body when I'm
Like
there.
you feel at home. Like you
Yeah.
feel like I'm home.
And online in a different way. And you can bring that back. So you had that activation. And then also look at a sign. Vietnam is such a green, lush city. You have all of these plants just like staring at you in the face,
Yeah.
being like, dude, we're right here. We're right here. We've been waiting for you.
Yeah, they're like welcome home.
Wow. So I was looking at your website and I was so impressed that it looks like you do a bunch of different things. So like, yeah, you do plant consults, but
Yes.
what does, present day Plant Daddy look like? Like, what are the things that you offer? Like, maybe it might be fun for you to run me through like what a day in the life looks like because you're probably jumping from thing to thing.
Yep. So a day in the life of a New York City plant doctor is how I map out my day is I start with my furthest destination,
Mm-hmm.
and then as the day goes down, I'm closer to home.
Mm-hmm.
So every day is a strategic walkthrough of New York City. An average day, let's say, I usually do about 3 to 4 appointments
Mm-hmm.
just because I could only do so much.
Right.
I think there was one time I did 5 appointments and I was so burnt out.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that each appointment, not only, it could be an hour, but I've had some appointments that last for 4 hours. So you gotta be really, really like flowy, but also know when to like do a hard stop. I'll walk you through one of my busier days. So it's one of my stops is the Upper East Side, and that's a maintenance call.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is I go in there and I maintain all of the plants in that home. And this home has 2 floors. And so my job is to go in and just make sure that all those plants are watered, treated, rotated, and literally look picture perfect. So one of my services is plant maintenance. If you just want to admire your plants and enjoy them, make them as showpieces and not have to worry about something, that's one of my services. Next down the line, we go to Nolita. There, I have a client that I do plant sitting for. So she's out of town for a few months. And she has a very, very beautiful collection. Lots of odd plants, unusual plants, and things that are propagating, which if you don't know how to propagate things in moss and perlite in a sealed bag, if you give that to any kind of person who is, who has not been exposed to other gardeners or plant people, they may look at them and be like, I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah.
And she really, really gives a lot of TLC to her plants. So because we're connected, she was like, can you plant sit for me while I'm gone? So that's another service that I offer is plant sitting.
Nice.
Later down the line, I'm back in Brooklyn. I'm doing a doctoring visit in Ridgewood. This person has an mealybug infestation around her whole home. So this is kind of like my follow-up visit to her. I've been treating it for quite some time and kind of just doctoring the situation and containing the mealybugs there.
Are you using beneficials or how are you doing it?
It depends on the client. So I'm versed in many different ways of treating pests. So for this specific case, I'm using beneficials, mostly because I love beneficials.
Me too.
And also, she's really, really down with it. But
Yeah.
there may be instances where the client is kind of creeped out by bugs. And so I have to resort to more other modes of treatment. So, like, suppose if it's mealybugs, I probably do alcohol, some pesticide stuff. But also, there's another layer too. I had another client where she was pregnant, so I had to and she did not like bugs either. So what do you do? In my toolkit, I was like, okay, so we have a natural pesticide that I could use for you for your specific case. So when it comes to pest treatment or those kind of house calls, it's very, very catered to the person and what they're comfortable with. But being someone who understands different ways of treatment, you have to be ready to cater to not only the plant, but what the person's preferences as well.
Yeah, that's interesting because I think once you step out of treating your own plants and starting to treat other people's plants, it's not really about what you think is right anymore. It's about what are the levels of tolerance that your clients have. And then you kind of have to have in your kit the bonide,
The
systemic,
bonnet, yep.
the neem oil, the totally holistic thing, the
Yep.
beneficials. I mean, I don't know if you have beneficials in your kit or if that's a special order thing.
They come in special orders.
Yeah.
Because they got to be fresh.
Totally. But I got to say, I'm like totally on the beneficial bandwagon now. I've done a couple of interviews with DMV Botanicals. Do you know them?
Yeah. They're the ones who supply my beneficials.
They're the greatest.
They're
Shout
great.
out.
They're great.
And they came over and we actually released a bunch of beneficials in my green wall. And like, I'm never going back. It's just like the most low maintenance, easy way to deal with these things.
I was so shook. I was like, so it's just, that's all I do? And they're like, yeah, that's all you
shake.
do. And I'm like,
yeah. You're like, okay, cool. So, and then I'm assuming too, you live in Brooklyn?
yes.
I'm assuming too, there's so many restaurants and like dentist offices that like need plants.
Yep.
So you do a lot of corporate stuff too.
I do a lot of corporate stuff. Installations is another thing that I do.
Cool.
Repotting services.
Nice.
As well. And another one that I've discovered that corporate places love doing, plant styling.
Tell me more.
So a lot of older offices will have plants already from the initial build out, but through years and years and years, and from them taking care of it well, it grows into an unusual pattern.
Okay.
For instance, there was one showroom that I worked on the Upper West Side. They've been in business for like 16 years. There was, I don't know how big this fiddle leaf fig is. Okay. But it literally reached the ceiling, went down, went up again. It looked like this curve because it was reaching towards the window. But because whoever was maintaining it maintained it very, very well, it was still an active grower. But it came to a point that it now was unstructurally sound.
Okay.
So whenever, even if there was like a gentle whisper, there was a threat of the whole thing falling down on all these expensive Italian garments.
So did you go and do a little hack job? And
yep. So well, here's the challenge too, is that of course, being plant people, we're like, oh, just hack it down, it'll regrow.
They're like, no.
They're like, no. And these were Italian clients too. Right. So they're like, no, you cannot do that. That was my Italian accent, probably horrible. It was a fun gig too, because like, they spoke Italian. I don't know Italian, so it was like kind of bridging the cultural wall. We had to speak through plant. They didn't want me to cut anything down.
What'd you do?
So I had to take a step back and I had to see what the bigger picture was. And I communicated to them. I was like, okay, so what do they actually want? They described that they wanted to look like a tree again. So they didn't want this shape. They wanted this shape. So what I decided to do was I figured out ways in this fiddle leaf to get it back upright. But then all the kind of side branches that were doing this, because they were just other branches, I wound it so it kind of gave it that structure of the tree again.
You bonsaied it.
Yep, I bonsaied it, but it was like a 14-foot bonsai.
Oh my gosh. Talk about creativity.
Yep.
Flexibility, knowing what needs to be done to the tree and not being able to do it.
Exactly. Wow. And I did use bonsai wire and zip ties because when it's that big, you need to use those things. So I used the principles of bonsai making and applied it to something of the 14.
Wow. So what's the craziest thing? Now that you've told me this story, I'm like, what's the craziest story you have?
The craziest story I have. Okay, so I had to do a plant doctoring call in Industry City.
Okay.
This gorgeous building. They sent me pictures. They were like, something's wrong with our office cactus.
Okay.
I'm just letting you know. I just feel like something's wrong with it. We don't know what to do. We're not plant people. Can you please help us? Just because this is a very, very important cactus. It's like the CEO's. It's been with us for a long time. Can you help? So they sent me pictures and I went, that is such a beautiful ghost cactus. I've never seen a ghost cactus grow that large indoors. And they were like, yeah, it does look kind of, has a cool, like, eerie, like, whiteness to it. I'm like, cool. I can't tell through these pictures, so definitely when I visit, I'll know what's going on. Oh, no. So I go into this room. Everything is so beautiful. Large, like literally the walls were just windows and you could oversee the water. It was so beautiful. And in the middle of this room was this giant cactus. Like literally so, like super tall. It was like three of me.
Oh my God.
It was huge. And I went, wow, and me knowing ghost cacti, I'm like, it's not supposed to be that big. Or like not this big indoor.
Yeah.
And so I went closer to it and I'm like, is this a ghost cactus? I look closer. That white is not the cactus.
Oh my God. Is it mealybugs?
Scale. So
What?
there is a scale. So I'm used to seeing scale that's brown or like a dark brown black color.
Yes.
This is another kind of scale that I have never seen before. It's a clear scale that has a black middle.
Oh, okay.
That kind of scale. And there were so many of them that they were piled on top of each other.
It made like a flat. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And it was covering this whole cactus that it looked white.
I'm going to start gagging.
So I took a step back once I realized what it was. And I told the manager, I went, okay, this has scale on it. It's a pest. And he goes, are you sure? And he went, I want you to tune in your eyes. See this little bit right here? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, that's a pest. And he goes, what? And I went, now take a step back. And you could literally see his eyes adjust into horror because now you're seeing the plant for what it really is.
Oh my God.
An exoskeleton of scale. I was not ready for this. I was not ready for this because I didn't pack like my hardcore.
Of course. You're like, I'm visiting a ghost cactus, right?
Yeah, I'm visiting ghost cactus. I thought it was like an underwatering thing.
Right.
It was far from it. So I was like, okay, Richard, you have to figure out what to do. How do you get this off? So traditionally, if you have a small scale infestation, the first thing you do is physically pick off the scale. Mm-hmm. I can't do this. So I kind of thought in my head, I'm like, okay, this is an office building. What's a tool that they might have that I can use? And I went, do you have a flathead screwdriver? And he goes, yes, I do. So I flaked off. The first piece was the most satisfying because it came out like a nice little sliver.
Did you record this?
I didn't.
Oh my God.
I know. I wish I could go back to record this, but back then I wasn't.
Yeah.
I'm Plant Daddy MD.
Content
I was just
creator.
Yeah, I was just Plant Daddy. And so I took that sliver and I was like, oh, so the cactus is green.
My God, that's so gross. Okay, and so that is the non-glamorous side of this job. It is not. You're peeling feet of scale off cacti.
And like I had to get on a ladder and literally it was like raining like dandruff.
Oh my God.
I remember the staff freaking out and I'm like, guys, it's fine. Just everyone like go take lunch.
Step away. Right.
Step away. There are times, of course, like with the content that you see on my page, I like to make things, very glamorous, very fierce. But I will admit the majority of the job is not very glamorous whatsoever. Yeah. You're getting dirty. You're dealing with pests. You're
getting called for sick plants and you're getting called for pest infestations.
Yep. Rotting plants.
Yeah. Smelling.
Dead plants. Oh my God. There are some smells that should not
be in a New York City apartment.
I mean, like, disclaimer, yes, fish fertilizer is great, but sometimes not good in an enclosed
Not in 400 square feet. We have to come to a close soon, but I have two more questions for you. Yeah. One, what's in your kit? Is it a backpack?
So I have two pieces of gear that I always wear, which is my tool belt and my doctor bag. Okay. Things that I have in my bag at all times: watering can, moisture meter, a good pair of pruners or shears. And last thing that I always have in there, zip ties.
Zip ties get it done.
Zip ties get it done.
Do you keep a magnifying loupe for pest IDing?
I do have a magnifying glass. It's on my little uniform. I have a little designated pocket for it.
I know you have such a cute little outfit in that. I hope you sell those belt one day. I love your belt.
One day, yeah. The whole like Plant Daddy MD outfit.
I love it. You are so fascinating. You're also such a fun follow. You're such a great content creator. And if you're in New York City, I also know you do a lot of customer facing events. Like you just did an air plant workshop, like you do
Yes.
pop-ups all over the place. So where can everyone find you and follow you and learn more and hire you or hire you for their friends? Like where can everyone learn more about you?
Yes. So my Instagram is Lord Fierce. I always like to share where I am, what events I'm going to do, also tidbits about how to take care of your plants and how to problem solve things.
Mhm.
If you're on TikTok, my TikTok handle is PlantDaddyMD.
Love it.
And you could always visit my website, plantdaddymd.com. There you'll find my list of services and how to contact me.
You're so inspiring, Richard. I'm so happy we got to have this conversation, and I'd love to have you back.
Oh, thank you, Maria. Yeah, I would love to. You're such a joy to talk to. And I'm glad we finally got to cross paths instead of just being weird and stalking each other on Instagram.
I know I can't believe our paths never crossed in New York. Whatever. Timing, I trust the timing of life.
Yeah, the timing is perfect.
Yeah.
Growing joy.